Hi everybody, so today for one of my looks for my 10 by 10, which is 10 items, 10 makeup looks, we're gonna do something that's kind of like how to wear like a red lipstick on a day-to-day basis. It's gonna be quick and it's gonna be very bronzy. So for those of you that live like in a place like me, I live in Miami, this is hot like all year long. We got like a few days of like wintry weather in December and January, but it's been like pretty hot lately. So it's safe to say that we live in like an endless summer. But today we're gonna do, again, like a bronzy red lip, it's sort of like a copper smoky eye, but it's gonna be so quick and perfect for like going out and about. It's gonna be long lasting and yeah, let's keep on watching. So I have prepped my skin. I use some hyaluronic acid and just make sure that for during the day you prep your skin however you do it, like do your skincare and apply sunscreen. And I'm gonna be using the Born This Way concealer as my base. So I do have to make sure that I moisturize really well because that product is kind of dry. But if I prep my skin really well, I notice that it looks really good throughout the day. So I did that. And now I'm gonna go with the makeup. So I'm gonna start with my eyes just because it's sort of like a smoky eye and it's gonna drop down. And I'm prepping my eyelids with my concealer, so I'm using it sort of like a primer so that the eyeshadow has something to stick to and so that it lasts all day. This is just to show you that you don't really need a separate primer unless you have eyeshadows that are particularly not that long wearing. But I find that if I'm using quality shadows, I don't really need a primer. The concealer does just fine. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do sort of like I said, like a copper smoky eye. So something like this or something like that. This one is pretty, but it's more on the, it looks kind of coppery, but on the eyes it looks more brown than copper. So depending on your skin tone, you're gonna choose the copper for you, meaning if you're light, maybe like light to medium, you can get away with using this. If you're darker, you can get away with using something like that. I'm actually gonna mix the two of them just because I don't want something so red. So I'm just starting with a flat brush just to get a lot of pigment. I want this to be impactful but with minimum effort. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm dragging it above my crease, and then with a blending brush, a clean blending brush, I'm gonna diffuse the edges. And I kind of want more, so I'm gonna go ahead and pack it on just because I want it over the crease. If you don't want something so full on, you can just place your product on your eyelid with something like this. It's going to diffuse the color and it's going to create more of a wash, so not something so intense. In this look, if you pick the right colors for you, I think it's very universal. It's just a matter of choosing, you know, the shades that favor your skin the most. If I was like a lot lighter, I would have to use something a lot lighter just because something like this would look too intense for during the day. And just blend it really high because you want to be able to see it when your eyes are open. Also, just because I want something a tiny bit bolder, not something so faint as I would usually do. Now with a small brush, with a small liner brush, I'm gonna take the dark chocolatey brown. It's called Punk, and I'm gonna use it close to my lashes, just sort of like to line them, like to line the eye and give definition. And I always talk a lot about definition, but it's just so important. That's what makes your eyes like stand out. And if you want it a tiny bit more, you can use a liner, a pencil or a liquid, and just like go in between the lashes or just above if you want like more intensity. I just think this is quicker, and for every day it's just faster. Okay, I'm gonna do my skin and I'm gonna go back to the eyes after I'm done with my face. So I'm gonna use my concealer under my eyes, inside here because I'm very dark inside here, and around my nose, you know, the usual places, around my lips, on my chin, and just some spots that I need to cover. Maybe a little bit on my cheeks just because I get a tiny bit of redness there. And I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush like this one and blend it. And I find that this is just the quickest, most long-lasting way of doing your foundation for every day. If you want it to look pretty good, but have it still be natural and very, very long wearing. This actually lasts better on me than foundation. I'm actually using the concealer sort of like to shape the eye, you know, so like to like slant it up in that direction. And I was actually on a photo shoot last week and I used this concealer as a foundation and to contour all week, and it photographed so well. I was so pleasantly surprised. It looked, I did layer it for the photo shoot. I did layer it with highlighter, and I applied lots of highlighter. So I applied before, I applied highlighter after, and then powder highlighter, and you know, I kind of like layered it, but it looked so good in the pictures. The skin looked amazing. I was so happy with it. So it's a good one if you're gonna be taking a lot of pictures, or if you're gonna be outside, because it is so long lasting. It is matte, so if you're very dry, it might not be for you. But for normal to oily skin girls, I think this is a fantastic product. I actually like it even more than my Nars creamy concealer, which I have been using for years. So that tells you something. Okay, now with the same flat brush, we're gonna take the same two copper shades and we're gonna do under the eye. And we're gonna drag it to the outer corner. I'm going to extend it. And I'm doing this after my concealer just because if I do the concealer after, this whole blending that I'm doing now is gonna get lost. So it's gonna have like a sharp edge, which I don't want. And again, taking the same black shade, brown shade, I'm gonna line underneath just for added drama. Just to emphasize that shade that I just created with the copper shade. A good tip for you is that if you only have like a handful of brushes, which I do, I don't have a ton of brushes for myself. If you're using like your brushes and you need to switch shades, you can just like go over with the brush on a towel, and it removes the product so you can use a different shade and not get like a stain from the shade that you were using previously, if that makes sense. So now I'm taking a gold shade from the same palette, this one here, and I'm just gonna use it in the inner corner. And this one has so much pigment, it's so pretty. And we're gonna do mascara. My Lancome Monsieur big, and at first I wasn't like crazy about it, but now that it's been open for a good like 2 or 3 weeks, I love it. It gives so much volume, so much length, and it doesn't run, doesn't smudge at all. It's sort of like a waterproof mascara, but it's easier to remove, so I love that. Actually, before I do the rest, I'm gonna put on some lip balm because my lips are kind of dry, and the lipstick that I'm gonna be using is matte, so I don't want it to look like super dry. Every time I film, Sebas lays here next to me, like on my feet, and it's so cute. He's so sweet. Sebas is my dog. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't know. Because on Instagram I post a lot about him. He's a spoiled one in the house. We also have a cat. You know, cats are more independent, so she's like hanging out on her own somewhere else. Okay, so on my face I'm gonna use the Chanel bronzer. And this is an amazing product. I really love it. And yes, it is very expensive, but honestly, it's gonna last you years and years and years. So I feel like you get your money's worth, you know? And I'm just using it sort of like to bronze my face, contour a bit, and as my blush. I'm gonna apply blush, but just not a lot, because I want this to be more bronzy than anything else. So I like to use it across my nose and high, like on my cheeks. I feel like it looks more natural that way. And now with the same brush, I'm gonna use the Clinique brush, the Clinique blush that I chose for this, and I'm just gonna pop it on the apples of my cheeks. And again, the placement that you choose for your products, for your face products, will depend on your face shape. So my face is very long and thin, so I like to place blush here just because it gives me more like a rounder and plumper look. But that's just like a matter of taste. So now we're gonna do the lip, and I'm using the matte shaker from Lancome. It's like an orangey red, it's very pretty. And I'm just gonna dab in first. And remember that I have the lip balm, so it's gonna go more emollient on the lips. But I'm gonna blot it and do a second layer. So this is the finished look. It's very quick, very easy. You barely need any skills. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week.